So let me
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. We will give a minute or two for folks to join the webinar this morning. We'll give them a minute. And then we'll get started. We can maybe start off with some introductions as we let people into the room here. My name is Annique Petit, and I'm a senior director on the Academic Alliances team. And my role is to be one of the primary liaisons with community colleges, as well as my team as well. And they'll introduce themselves as they present. We thank you for joining us today, and we have a really great partner update for you this morning. We'll talk about our team, exciting updates and new initiatives that we have in academic alliances, some ASU data and trend updates, as well as talking about MyPath and some information on student communication. And we'll be ending actually with an actual training. So the updates portion will be the first part, and then we'll let you know when we switch gears to the training for those of you who would like to stay for that. Some of you may already be very, very familiar with MyPath to ASU and not really need that portion of the webinar. So we'll let you know when that kind of shifts over. So here's the team. We've grown a little bit in the last year, so we thought it would be helpful to share this slide with you. For ongoing engagement and training, me and Melanie and Kathy Silberman are those that oversee that. And then you'll hear from some wonderful colleagues in admissions and EdPlus ASU Online this morning. As partners, hopefully you know that we are creating integrated processes at no cost, and we really focus on service and solution awareness to up those graduation rates for students that transfer to us, so they are graduating with that bachelor's as they had planned. We align academic support for term-to-term persistence, and we really concentrate on the seamless transfer experience through the transfer guide and MyPath to ASU. And you'll hear a little bit about that. We really have transfer-focused collaboration towards progress. Close to half of all of the students that half of the current population that's studying at ASU came to us as transfer students. So it's a really big focus here at ASU. And that's because of that national transfer problem. I just looked at the most recent data from the National Student Clearinghouse, and that issue persists. 1 in 6 starting at community college earn a bachelor's. So if you had 100 new students starting at a community college and 80 of those were planning on transferring to pursue a bachelor's degree, only about 29 actually do, and then 16 eventually graduate. There are a lot of reasons for that. Life happens, we know that. But a big part of it is also because of sometimes the inability for community college students to transfer all of their credits into the university where they would like to transfer to. In fact, only 58% of students transfer 90% of their credits, and 15 can't transfer any at all. So that's what MyPath to ASU and the transfer guide seek to assist students with. We know that students who complete their associate degree prior to transfer are much more likely to get that bachelor's degree. So that is something we take very seriously, and all of the pathways are built out to show students how to obtain that associate degree first. We also know that students who can transfer 90% of their credits or more are more likely to transfer. Of course they are. You know, their time, their money, everything that they put into their education so far needs to be recognized. So here is some data from the latest report from National Student Clearinghouse. And the link is below there, and I can also put that into the chat in a little bit here. But lots of great data there. Of course, the COVID-19 report is really looking at transfer very, very closely. And we know that that transfer student enrollment and persist in upward transfer, unfortunately, still those are down, and it really is a collective responsibility for everyone to assist these students to complete their educational goals. So some exciting new updates, which I'm happy to share with you this morning for ASU. And that is the following. So we know now with our own data that we have collected that students who sign up for My Path to ASU do participate in upward transfer, and the percentages are higher than the national averages. So we know that 48% of My Path to ASU community college students do apply to ASU. And 95% of pathway learners who applied to ASU applied within 2.5 years of signing their agreement. So this is a good sign that they are taking a good majority of their credits at the community colleges and hopefully finishing that associate degree. And 80% of the pathway students admitted into an immersion pathway, meaning in person, they are enrolled, and 85% of online pathway students enroll at ASU. So high percentages, whether they're in person or online, if they're admitted, they are going on and enrolling and pursuing that bachelor's degree. So we were really excited to have that data to share with you in this update. ASU now has over 1 million transferable courses in My Path to ASU. These have been evaluated over the past 10 years. And so we're really happy about that, because that gives students more opportunity to transfer in more of those applicable credits towards their major. Of course, that can be seen in the transfer guide, My Path to ASU. You'll be hearing a lot more about that, as well as the course equivalency search tool that you have little pictures of here in the slide. We also are doing a lot around credit mobility, which is a really cool project that we're working on to create some new tools that would be integrated into the whole host of tools available to transfer students. One is called a course triangulator, and the main function of this is to triangulate course equivalencies between non-ASU institutions and expanding ASU's 1 million evaluations. So ensuring that, if you have ASU a 101 course, that is showing as an equivalency with any kind of an applicable 100 level course at other institutions. We're also working on a credit maximizer, and this is based on learners' existing course history, and it will perform a series of what-if analyses against multiple credential requirements to identify the learner's progress, and it allows the learner to understand how existing credits would apply to a broad set of programs and assist in decision-making to see where would they get the most credits and into what degree. And that may sort of guide them into what they choose to major in at ASU. Also, we will have an interactive degree planner. This will allow for dynamic sequencing of a learner's remaining work to complete out their program, because as we know, transfer students want to know 3 things. How soon can they finish their bachelor's degree? How many of their credits will transfer? And how much will it cost, right? So this interactive degree planner will help to answer 2 of those questions for the student. And of course, we are still working on the distributed ledger technologies, and those are Pocket, which we had introduced this past year, and the Trusted Learner Network. And the Pocket, it's an app essentially, and it is a learner-facing digital wallet intended to allow a learner to store, curate, and share their learning with a broad set of stakeholders. So that's an exciting project with distributed ledger technology behind it. And the Trusted Learner Network, of course, is intended as a community component around distributed ledger technologies and other issues. So so we're still working on those, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So now I will pass it over to Kathy, and she will share some ASU data and trend updates.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kathy Silberman. I'm program manager for community college engagement here at ASU. And this is what my path to ASU looks like nationwide, as far as partnerships that we have with you and other wonderful community colleges across the United States. You can see the numbers indicate the number of community college partners in each state that they are over. And so we have 89 universal articulation agreements right now across 19 states. And so the word is spreading about my path to ASU and about ASU. And we think that's great. And we hope to reach even more students as time moves on. So here's a look at the transfer pathway landscape overview for all of our partners across the nation. We have 48 states or active pathway students in 48 states currently. So some of them are at institutions who we don't have an agreement with yet, but maybe in the future we will. And then we have over 29,000 students at this time on active pathways. So in my path to ASU. So that time period is fall 2018 to fall 2022 because of the 4-year time frame on my path to ASU. And so that also can be looked at in monthly pathway signups, and the average is 710. And then 638 community colleges have active pathway students. So just like the map that you just saw, the reach of my path to ASU is far and wide. And the top 10 programs of interest are over on the right side, criminology being first, computer science being second, and so on, going from left to right and down the list. Interestingly, computer science has 2 flavors, if you will, on the list: computer science, the classic, and then the computer science software engineering concentration there. And you can see the rest as they lay out. Now we're switching from pathways to new transfer data. And so you can see since 2015-16, we've had consistent growth in new transfers to ASU, shooting up quite a bit this past year of data in 21-22. And here's a breakdown between immersion or in-person programs and online programs. And so you can see that the numbers are somewhat consistent for immersion, ranging all the way back from 2015, 6,000 or so to almost 5,000 now. And then you can see the growth that has occurred with online programs. And note that these are not students who are just taking a class or two online. Online is considered students who are signed up for a degree program through ASU Online, so it's entirely online. Also, the new transfer data is based on the last institution attended and enrollment in the immersion or online program. Here's just another way to look at the immersion and online makeup of our students. And you can see across the board that the online enrollment has increased greatly, especially from 2021 to 21-22. And we are going to transition now over to kind of the training portion of the program here. If you would like to see a demonstration of My Path to ASU, the tool, and learn more or get a refresher, as the case may be, about additional transfer resources, then stay tuned. So we're going to go right into My Path to ASU and other top-notch resources for transfer students that we offer. First, we'd like to share a student story. We were having some technical difficulties this morning, so I hope it works. If not, be assured that we will send you this presentation and slide deck after the presentation, so you'll be able to watch it on your own as well and share it with your colleagues.
And if it doesn't, and it looks like our sound is not going to work, I am looking for the YouTube link, and I will share it in the chat so that folks can check it out on their own. So for now, let's go ahead and switch to the next slide.
Okay. Oops. It's really trying hard, but not cooperating fully. There we go. All right. So as you may already be aware, My Path to ASU has a lot of benefits for students. Of course, students save time and money because they're on a very clear pathway. They're saving time to degree completion because they're taking what they need for their program, for their degree program. They can see a customized course by course pathway that's term by term, and that minimizes the loss of their transfer credit because they won't be taking classes that they don't need. And they, of course, can track their progress, applicability, all the way through as they progress with their degree in real time. And they can use all of the transfer guide suite of tools like My Transfer Guide, our course equivalency search, and several others. So they also receive personalized communications when they sign up for My Path to ASU and along the way. And Melanie will be sharing a little bit more about that later. They have access to ASU's transfer coordinators and pre-enrollment services, and they receive a lot of invitations to special events at ASU online and in person. They receive emails with important deadlines and enrollment guidance. And then a very big benefit is earned guaranteed admission into the major of their choice if all of the My Path to ASU requirements are met. So that's a very good reassurance for feeling of reassurance for students who might be worried about, am I doing the right thing? Am I taking the right classes? Will I get into ASU and will I get my program of choice? With My Path to ASU, as long as they complete those requirements, there's a place waiting for them. And so this video only has background music, so I'm going to go ahead and start it. It shows you what the My Path to ASU tool looks like. And I can hear it super loud, but I'm going to walk you through it a little bit. So we're searching My Path to ASU majors. This is the point with this tool that you can just explore. You can compare different majors. And advisors, of course, can use it. Families can use it. Students, of course, are going to be using it the most because it's open to everybody. You don't have to sign in to use the My Path to ASU search tool. All the requirements are clearly laid out. Any special transfer admission requirements for that program are also included. In the left-hand column, you see ASU's courses, and then down the middle column, you see your community college's courses that will transfer over to meet those requirements. So when a student is ready to sign up for My Path to ASU, they click on that button and they go through these easy steps telling us where they're transferring from, what they would like to study at ASU, and when they plan to come over to ASU. A little bit about themselves so that we have them on record. And then on that note, they sign off on a FERPA agreement stating that it's okay with them for ASU and their community college to share their academic records so that we can reach out to them and monitor their progress on My Path to ASU. At that point, they're ready to sign in anytime to their transfer account. And then they have access to what's called My Transfer Guide. So it's very similar to what you just saw. It's just a little bit more interactive in that students can mark classes as completed or in progress. They also don't have to put in all of the information on their pathway and their goals. Again, they can just click right on it to open it up at any time. You can also see that there's 4 tabs across the top with additional resources. So of course, we're looking at the second tab, My Path to ASU. The course search is also very helpful, especially if students have taken classes at various institutions to quickly see how those courses have been evaluated here at ASU. And then the exam search gives equivalencies for standardized exams like advanced placement, CLEP, and so on. And then student resources has various types of information in it, including frequently asked questions about pathways. And here's just a close-up of what we just saw. Those tabs across the top with additional resources and where the students can mark their progress. So with that, I will turn things over to my colleague, Melanie.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Melanie Pshaenich with Academic Alliances. And one of the really great benefits to your students when they sign up for My Path to ASU is that they're entered into the communications flow. And not only will they receive communications that are from the university in general, but they'll receive communications from the college that they indicated on their pathway. And one of the first communications they receive is a welcome from the dean of that college with very college-specific information. So it's a really great way for your students to start building that connection to their college and ways to get involved with their college. They'll also receive an email invitation from our transfer student ambassadors, who are all transfer students from the community colleges, and they host their own peer-to-peer webinar called Fun Fridays, which takes place the first Friday of the month. So that's another avenue for students to connect with other transfer students who've gone through the process themselves. And these are just some more examples of some of the university-wide communications that your students would receive. With admission services, they'll receive specific information throughout the enrollment cycle. So it's a great way for them to stay on top of important dates and deadlines as they prepare for their first semester at ASU. Things such as when do they start applying for FAFSA, or when do they begin registering for classes. They'll also receive invitations to university events, many of which are specific to transfer students, including new student orientation. So it's another way for your students to start really building that affinity to ASU, making that connection with people at ASU, and getting involved before they even begin their first semester. And as I mentioned before, our transfer student ambassadors are all transfer students from the community colleges. They're a really, really excellent resource for transfer students. They've gone through the transfer process. They're here to, share their journey, share helpful tips, and to act as a liaison to the university. So even if your students aren't sure who to connect with, they can always reach out to our transfer student ambassadors, and they can help them navigate that and get them in touch with the right people throughout the university. So we encourage your students to reach out at any time, either by email, or they can leave them a voicemail, and our TSAs would be really excited to connect back with them. And as I mentioned also before, our TSAs hold their own peer-to-peer workshop. It's completely facilitated by them. Again, they share what their transfer journey was like to ASU, things they learned throughout the process, things they wish they knew. And they also go through the My Path to ASU sign up, similar to what we're doing here. So that's one event we highly encourage your students to get involved with. And another one is through undergraduate transfer information sessions, and these are now held on demand. So your students can watch it at any time. It's hosted by Admission Services, so it gives a more holistic view of transferring to ASU and another opportunity to learn about My Path to ASU and the sign-up process. And as always, we encourage students to visit our transfer events to see what's happening throughout the year, and get involved as much as they can, so their first semester they'll be off to a great start. And one of the areas I work on is our marketing and communications. And when we sign with a community college, we work with that community college on launching our partnership. And part of that is sharing deliverables, communications for the colleges to share out with their students so they can learn about My Path to ASU. And they often ask us, as we work with them on updating their websites and making sure that they're surfacing all the right pages and showcasing My Path to ASU, they often ask for examples of what other colleges have done with their web pages. So we've picked a few colleges that we thought really showcase My Path to ASU really well, and their partnership with ASU really well. So the first one we have is from Arizona Western College. You can see they have My Path to ASU front and center. A lot of information on transferring to ASU and on our partnership with Arizona Western College. And these are some more examples of things Arizona Western College has done with ASU. As you can see, they're really involved. Everything is clearly laid out. They have virtual workshops. They promote My Path to ASU far and wide. So we just thought they were a really great example to show you of an Arizona community college. And another example, and so it's kind of neat to see how layouts are different and how different schools showcase things, but LA Pierce College did a really great job with linking to various sites at ASU. They highlight transfer programs and events that are going on. So this is just another showcase of best practices with one of our partner colleges. And lastly, we have Green River College, and they have a really beautiful layout. They chose a really nice picture of ASU front and center. Again, they have detailed information. It's very clear and concise. Their links, go to the appropriate transfer web pages. So this is just another comparison of a school that we thought did a really great job of integrating My Path to ASU and ASU into their web pages. And with that, I will pass it back to
Thank
Annique.
you so much, Melanie. So we wanted to also talk about the many, many ways that students can access ASU. We know it can be a little confusing at first. So we wanted to just share out a little bit as students choose different modalities or locations. So of course, we have full immersion in person opportunities all throughout Arizona, as one would expect, especially around the Maricopa area in Arizona, as well as in Lake Havasu, which I think Jen will be covering in a few moments. But we have a new opportunity as well, and that is in California. We have a campus in California offering some degrees there, as well as through ASU Local. And what that is when students can study online, so they all of their curriculum is online, asynchronously, and however, in person, they have supports. They have a coach and things like that. So I'll cover that in a little more detail in a moment. And then, of course, there's always ASU Online, and Elizabeth will be sharing more about that with you. And ASU Sync, and this is basically synchronous learning online, where students have the opportunity to have face-to-face lessons with their faculty. So those are the kind of the four biggest, and a little more in ASU Local, that the coursework is asynchronous. However, they have coaching. They have close ties with the college, the community, and of course the careers that they plan to enter. So that is another option. We have an ASU Local campus in California, as mentioned, as well as Yuma, Arizona, and in Washington, D.C. And with that, I will pass it to Jennifer.
Thanks, Annique. My name is Jennifer Ash. I'm Associate Director in our Admission Services Office. Sorry. So excited to talk to you this morning. I'm going to spend some time on the next few slides just giving you an overview of ASU and information you could share with students you may work with, maybe give you some highlights so that when you're working with a specific student, if there's something that they're mentioning that they're looking to achieve with their bachelor's degree, it'll spark the idea for ASU, and you can pass them along to us. My team are the recruitment staff that are dedicated to each area across the country or within the state to help them go through the transfer and application process at ASU. So as a whole, we're one university in many places. We have many modalities like Annique was just sharing on the previous slide. I'm going to focus on our in-person options for the next few slides. So you can see on this slide, the 4 campus locations in the Phoenix metropolitan area. So Tempe is our historic campus, which was founded in 1885, where our institution was founded. But since then, we've expanded to 3 other campuses across the valley. And then we do have some degree options in Lake Havasu area as well on the California-Arizona border. So depending on what students want to study, oftentimes drives which campus they're located at. So some majors are specific to a campus location, while other majors are offered at multiple campus. So in that case, students would look at the different characteristics and the environment of the campus and choose which location is going to be the best fit for them. So if they're looking for a large campus feel, that's going to be our Tempe campus, which has over 55,000 students that take classes in person. If that's pretty large and a little bit overwhelming and daunting, we have our Weston Polytechnic campus, which have about 5,000 students. And then we have the downtown Phoenix campus, which has about 13,000 students. So if they're interested in like nursing, journalism, public service, public policy, those are all majors specific to downtown. But if they're interested in psychology, education, those ones can be found at multiple campuses. So again, kind of up to the student to have them do a little research and learn a little bit more. On the next slide, you can see some of the tools that we have available to help students with their research. A lot of transfer students know off the bat what major they're interested in, but if they're just not sure they could, or they're still in the exploring phase, we have a Me3 tool, which is a actually both the Me3 tool and the Campus Fit quiz are like quiz setups where they can answer a series of questions and I'll match them to the degree or the campus that is the best fit for them. If they know exactly what they want, this undergraduate degree search tool is a great resource and wealth of information. They can just put in the major that they're interested in. It brings up more details about the program. It gives a major map, which is a list of all the courses that are required to complete the degree. So it ties real nicely to the My Path to ASU tool and showcases all the information there. And then also pulls information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics as far as like the career outcomes projected for each degree. So I can't recommend these tools enough. I use the degree search tool almost daily when assisting students in the application process. On the next slide, cost is another big question that we get from students. So we have a link here that we'll probably put in the chat for our tuition estimator, so students can go in, complete the information for themselves and see what the tuition price is looking like. That we encourage all students to complete the FAFSA. That's going to be the best way as an institution if we can determine how we would be able to help them financially to pay for their education. And then our scholarship portal has hundreds of scholarships that it's a database that's updated regularly for students to use as incoming transfer or continuing students. They can stack those scholarships on top of whatever financial aid package they are receiving. So early, I always encourage students to start the application process 3 to 6 months before they want to start classes at ASU. So typically at the beginning of their last semester at their community college. And then that way they can have their application decision all squared away and then focus on the financial aid and scholarship search process to get them set up for success for their before classes start at ASU. Another good tool we have is the Raise Me. We partner with Raise.me, which is a micro scholarship organization. So a lot of students, while they're in community college, can create a profile on Raise Me And then as they're making progress towards their academic goals, they can earn scholarship dollars that'll be awarded at the institution that they transfer to. So this is available for many colleges and universities across the country, but you can see on the screen all the different options that they can get scholarship dollars for, including signing up for My Path to ASU program. So keep that in mind as a helpful tool. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. We are also a military friendly institution. So you can see on this slide, we do encourage students to send us their joint service transcripts or JSTs so that they could potentially earn some credits for their military experience. Depending on how long they've served, it can help them with some units or credits towards their degree completion as they are coming out of the service or transitioning to the civilian life. So keep that in mind. And then another unique feature we have is a 75 credit option. While most degrees will accept 60 credits from the community college, I did want to highlight these 3 degrees you see on your screen here, including, and then in addition to the nursing one, which has some 75 credit options. So interdisciplinary studies, liberal studies, organizational leadership are, I would say, are some of our most friendly transfer degree options. So keep those in mind. Not a lot of students are familiar with them when they're going through the process. So typically, if they're at a point where they're transferring an institution, they're just looking for something to help them maximize their credits. These 3 degrees are always good options for students. And with that, I'll turn it over to Elizabeth to talk about ASU Online.
Perfect, thank you. Yes, so I'll go over a little bit about what ASU Online has to offer and how we are set up. So we do offer over 300 degree programs, 100% online. So these are great for busy students that maybe have full-time jobs, families, and they need to fit in school throughout their busy schedule. These are asynchronous classes that are available 24 hours a day to students. So they will have a syllabus to follow and due dates, but they will be able to fit in their schoolwork throughout the week. And with that, we also have flexible start dates. So 6 start dates a year, typically for programs, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, and 2 in the summer. And with that, we have 7.5 week courses through ASU Online. So typically students will take somewhere between 1 and 3 classes per 7.5 week session, which can keep them taking the same number of credits that they would in a traditional semester. Our online classes are also taught by the same world-class faculty that teach our campus courses. So they are held to the same educational standard, receiving the same degree, just delivered through a different modality. And then online students do have support through our suite of services, and you'll see on the next slide several of these services that are offered to our online students. A couple that I like to mention, we have our 360 Life services. This is our counseling platform. So we really want students to take care of their mental health. This can include counseling, therapy, anything like that. Students have access to services such as that. We also have our online tutoring that's available 24/7. It has over 150 subjects within it. So some are live tutoring, some have videos, worksheets, all different options for students. So those are just a few. You can definitely check out our website, and it has more information on all of these, plus any additional services that are available. Another way that we support our online students is through our enrollment coaches. So these coaches are with students from the first time they express interest in ASU through their first day of class. And these individuals can help them look at their goals and really find out what they'd like to do, what program would be a best fit for them, and talk through that. They can also help with the application and make sure that the student has a complete application that's ready for review. So turning in all those transcripts and any other documentation that may be needed. And then they will support them through a strong start on their first day of class, which is where their success coach comes in. And this slide expresses a little bit about our success coaches. So they do the handoff with the enrollment coach on the first day of class, and then the success coach is with the student through graduation. They're there to support the student and help break down any roadblocks the student might run into. So a student may have questions about financial aid or academic advising. This person is able to help on the surface level and then get them in contact with whoever is able to best help them throughout ASU. They're also there to help them with time management skills, study strategies, anything that comes up, and they are easily accessible through phone, chat, several different ways to support the student through their degree program. And another way we support our online students is through orientation. So each student will take a week-long orientation before they start their classes. This gets them familiar with how the online classes are set up, how they'll turn in assignments, where they can see feedback. So they're not walking into that first class trying to figure that all out. We have specific orientations for specific populations, so general, military affiliated, and then a couple for our big partnerships that we have as well. And of course, cost is a big question for advisors and students. So with our online programs, there's no out-of-state tuition. Tuition ranges from $561 to $661 per credit hour. Just depends on what course and program the student is taking. And like I mentioned before, students will typically take 1 to 3 classes per semester. So they do have a little bit of flexibility with funds. If they're using financial aid and need a lower cost or whatever, they can do that based on the number of credits and classes that they take per session. We also have a couple other opportunities for students on helping pay for college. So we do have a partnership with Starbucks, and we have a Starbucks College Achievement Plan. What that is even part-time employees at Starbucks who are benefit eligible have access to this. It is 100% tuition paid through Starbucks and ASU. We've had over 20,000 participants within this program and over 8,500 graduates. So it's a great way for students that maybe already have a job at Starbucks or know that they need a job while going through college, but also want a way to pay for college. It's a great opportunity for them as well. And a similar one, but a little bit of different, Uber, qualifying drivers and delivery people are able to take advantage of this. This includes Uber and Uber Eats. One unique thing about this partnership is that the reward can be passed on to other family members and dependents. So you'll see the list there. So maybe you're working with a student and they have a parent or a child that is a Uber driver. If they qualify for this benefit, they might be able to use that as well. And then I will pass it back off to Annique.
Thanks so much. Just a note that all of the services that Elizabeth mentioned and all of the services that you see on this slide are of course available to students regardless of modality. So if you're an online, a sync, an immersion, whichever it is, ASU local, all of these are available to all students. And with that, a quick question for you. Who is the ASU mascot? What do you think? Is it Snarky the Devil Dog, Sparky the Sun Devil, Otto the Orange, Artie the Artichoke, or Handsome Dan? It is Sparky the Sun Devil. Fun story about Sparky. He was designed back in the 1940s by an alum of ASU who was working for Walt Disney and designed Sparky's face off of the face of Walt Disney himself, which is kind of an interesting little tidbit. What I'm going to share with you now is one last link here for resources for you all and giving you links to students as well. These were your presenters today. Here's all of our emails. We encourage you all to contact us should you have any additional questions for us. And we thank you very much for joining us this morning. We hope this was helpful. This has been recorded, so the same page where you registered for this, you will be able to watch it or share it out with others if should they need refresher training or like to hear about those updates. And join us in the future for future webinars that we offer. Thank you very much and have a great day. Works up.